Hi, this is Duff, WA7BFN, and welcome to This is LICW, a look at what's new, noteworthy, and happening in the Long Island CW Club for December 2024. Howard WB2UZE, one of the founding fathers of the Long Island CW Club for, just about 5 years now?
That's right, Duff.
Okay, and we've got how many members do you have at this point?
Well, we're over 5,700 at this point.
Wow, what a ride. What do you, just out of curiosity, what do you think is driving the resurgence of CW at this point?
Well, the way we look at it, there's probably three main things. Number one, I think that people tire of the immediacy of everything that's in the palm of their hand.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And CW is a very efficient and yet romantic way to communicate. So I think it has a draw. For the younger people, it's POTA and SOTA.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Everybody knows that if you're going to climb up on a mountain or you're going to walk deep into a park, you'd be better off with a small radio about the size of a pack of cigarettes to do CW and a small compromised antenna rather than dragging along a sideband radio with a computer.
You're no kidding. Some of those are just fantastic, to what they've come up with. Just a small little thing, and all of a sudden we're making contacts all over the world. Just totally amazing.
I'm amazed at some of the radios that the guys bring to the portable outings we do, and they're so small. They have 5 watts, but we get DX. We get out to Europe. It's amazing. Yeah. And as far as maybe the third driver, Duff, years ago, 20-something years ago, CW was required for a license.
That's right.
And people thought when that requirement was dropped, that would be the end of CW, but It's kind of had a reverse psychological effect. People who were forced to do it and now know they're no longer forced have an interest in coming back to CW and trying it.
Yeah. I remember those very, very well, taking my test at the FCC office in Chicago, about the same time I think you probably did over there.
I took my FCC test in some rickety old building in downtown Manhattan in 1966.
I'll be darned. Mine was 63, so I'm just a couple of years ahead.
Wow, I didn't know that you were ahead of me. Congratulations.
Just a tad, anyway. So how did LICW get started?
Well, this is what happened, Duff. About 5 years ago, we were at field day, and there really wasn't enough operators in the particular club that we were at to be able to man the radios for the entire contest. And everybody knows that you get 2 points for CW versus 1 for sideband. So it's very interesting if you're competing to have CW operators. So I said to my friend Rich K2UPS, why don't we give back and start a group on Long Island to teach and make new CW operators? And he said yes right away, so we started the club.
Right.
After strong-arming everybody that I knew in the 3 clubs that I belonged to, I thought we were finished with 52 members. But then when I heard about Zoom, because some secretaries in my office were using this, I said, this is great. We don't really need a brick and mortar place. We can do this all on Zoom. And then COVID hit at the same time where everybody was locked down in the entire country. So we had a captive audience. The thing exploded. And it never stopped exploding from there, Duff.
Oh, it sure has. And I've enjoyed it. My last couple of years, of course, with LICW has just been absolutely great. What do you think? There's a lot of programs out there, Howard, like, the Morse Code Ninja, and you've got some of the other, programs out there. What makes LICW different?
Well, I was keeping track for a long time about the most popular apps for learning CW.
Right.
And there were about 100 that I had on my list, maybe over 100.
Wow.
And we were asking everybody who came to the club, well, what programs were you using? And there are many. Still to this day, there are many. But what's the difference between learning on your own and learning in a group with like-minded individuals and support? I think people will stick to it more if they have people just like them sitting in class. There's an instructor welcoming you every week and encouraging you. And then on top of that, Duff, we decided to try and make the atmosphere for learning fun. So besides rote CW classes, every single day we have a forum on related topics to ham radio to make it a place to come and commune.
Sure, absolutely. And I think that's the big thing. I think the fun aspect, basically, of the various classes, that are going on over there, plus forum, of course, is really what makes it, different, I think, from everybody else. And of course, doing it on your own, that's a tough one. We've evolved, our club has evolved in its structure as far as, training is concerned. What are the latest, aspects of the training that we have going right now?
Well, thanks to the very hard work and leadership of Mike N1CC, along with a whole host of dedicated instructors, the entire curriculum, as you know, was rewritten.
Right.
And I don't think, Duff, in the last 30 or 40 years has anybody sat down to rewrite how to teach CW.
Yeah, exactly.
So we took the best of everything that we could find as far back as the turn of the century
Wow.
up to modern times, and combined that with our own experience, and even made our own CW trainer, our own app, and came up with currently 154 classes per week.
Wow.
That's per week
Wow.
on Zoom. And it's going to go up higher from that, too, as we expand the advanced class selections. That was a major thing. And then on top of it, we just started classes in Spanish.
Oh, amazing. Isn't that something?
That's something that was a lot of hard work, and to get the teachers to be able to do it, to broadcast this down to Latin America and Spain, to tell people it's available. I'm very proud about that. And, if this works out, hopefully maybe we'd branch out into French and German too one of these days.
Wouldn't that be something? And we've got members from literally all over the world. A lot in Europe, of course, and Australia. In my class over there, I've got a couple of guys from France and Germany and so on and so forth. So it makes it really a kind of a global thing. And I guess the cadre of instructors, how do they evolve? We got some good ones in there.
How do you find instructors? That's a good question, right? How do you locate them? How do you get, Duff, we always say the good people and the people that want to give back, they bubble up to the surface.
Right.
And if you have a little radar and a sixth sense for these people, you can find them. And we're very blessed that the majority of the people that we ask to be instructors say yes. And they're just not thrown into the fray. They get a very formal training program, as you know, and they're really taught all about how we teach, our curriculum and why, and about our culture of the club. And, they're from all walks of life, male and female.
True.
And it's just terrific. When I sit back at the instructors meeting, and as you know, we have an instructors meeting every 2 weeks. There's about 40 or 50 people that come in there. I sit back and I don't say much of anything. And I'm watching this all transfold in front of me, Duff. And I think back to 4 or 5 years ago when I was just one about the only teachers, me and Rich K2UPS.
Yeah.
That was it. We started with 2 teachers. And here we have over 70 to 100 teachers all participating. It's absolutely amazing to me.
Isn't that amazing? Then there's some success stories out there, that are going on. Do you have any in mind or that you can think of?
Well, anytime that anybody makes a first QSO, we announce that on Groups.io, and we give them a first QSO certificate. And on top of it, many people might not know this, but they're contacted by our traffic net people.
Oh, sure. Okay.
They get contacted with a congratulations that comes in via CW and then to them directly via the net system. It's very interesting. So the most important successes are really the people that make their first QSOs.
Isn't that amazing?
And we are very pleased that we have that quite often.
We've had some people, that have gone from the very rank beginnings all the way to what we call QRQ. And I'm just totally amazed at the speed, they've accomplished. It's just totally amazing.
It's quite amazing, and it's an honor to me personally to see people start in the club as beginners, learn CW all the way through the intermediate and advanced, and then become homegrown teachers, Duff.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And the thing I think I've noticed with all of the instructors that I, communicate with on almost a daily basis over there is the fact that they want to teach. They enjoy to teach. And I guess that's the thing that's really infectious, I guess, throughout the entire club. We've got people who really care. They want to see you advance. They want to basically instruct.
I have to say again, Duff, when I sit back and listen to the instructors or I see their emails, and how seriously they take this,
Right.
and the effort that they're putting in, and some of the individual efforts by a number of them to even help rewrite the curriculum and
sure.
improve it,
Oh, yeah.
or improve the trainer. I can't believe it.
It's totally amazing. What a success story, and what a neat thing. 5,700 members so far. Totally amazing. Well, Howard, thank you for sharing with us today, and I appreciate that. And shall we say success and onward?
Well, Duff, I want to take a minute to thank you personally for doing these wonderful podcasts. You put in such a tremendous effort, and I know you have to do this often, and you have to find people that are agreeable to be able to talk to you, and then edit them, and then put them up on our website and this and that. So it's great. I appreciate it, and so does everybody else in the club. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Howard. I appreciate you as well. Take care. 73s.
73 to you.
The Path to Morse Code Fluency by Tom Weaver, W0FN. 2 essential skills enable Morse code fluency. 1. The extreme familiarity with the alphabet, instant character recognition, or ICR. 2. Character flow skills, keeping up, powered by instant error recovery, our IER. ICR and IER are equally essential skills for head copy, and it's difficult to improve one without improving the other. Learning dit-da sequences of each letter is how we begin, but that's far from truly knowing the alphabet. When each CW letter sound is the letter without thought, like spoken letters, that's the level of familiarity required for Morse code fluency. To paraphrase Nancy Cott, WZHC, ICR requires overlearning the alphabet. Overlearning the alphabet is a vital part of Morse code comprehension. ICR is a fundamental building block of Morse code fluency, but so is instant error recovery. Overlearning your ABCs alone isn't enough. Trying harder won't help. Relax, learn to get your conscious mind out of the way, and go with the flow and improve your IER skills. As acoustic character sound familiarity builds, recognition will transition into a background task. The retention buffer is then free to build words as letters arrive, following trains of thoughts and understand what's being said. You may wonder how to get your conscious mind out of the way. Try this. Focus on keeping up. Prioritize going with the flow with a light mental touch. Always trying hard to recognize every single character can actually hinder the progress. It tends to increase frustration. IER skills help minimize feelings of frustration and disappointment. Missing stuff isn't failure. It's essential. IER practice. Improving IER is the primary enabler for being able to practice faster CW sooner rather than later. IER isn't letting go of non-recognition events. It's never hanging on to them in the first place. Building IER skills will turbocharge your journey to Morse code fluency. Go with the flow. Learn to completely ignore non-recognition events. ICR isn't recognize letters quickly with plenty of time between them skill. It's all about word building as letters arrive in the midst of a rapid flow of CW characters. If short phrases or sentences are difficult to copy,
You probably don't have a word problem. It's usually caused by a lack of IER skills and trying to decode dit-da sequences too slow. Try word building without CW to test your word building skills. Trying to decode dit-da sequences faster won't help. Overlearn each letter's single acoustic sound. Get very familiar with unique letter sounds plus short recognition intervals. Don't avoid listening to fast CW. Relax. Your subconscious will get used to the tempo and it won't sound so fast after a while. What about instant word recognition or instant syllable recognition? Well, IWR and ISR skills occur naturally as short groups of letters are heard repeatedly. CQ, the, RST, QTH, TNX, WX, ING, ED, ER, test, etc. Common letter sequences heard often enough will eventually morph into a single sound rhythm. Since this happens naturally over time, I think specific IWR and ISR practice is optional. Do it if you wish, or not. My way of learning the alphabet as a single acoustic sound per letter was listening to it a dozen times or more per day at 3 different speeds. I also sent the alphabet a dozen or more times per day. I listened and sent in groups of 3, i.e. AAA, BBB, CCC, DDD, etc. Every time I heard a letter, I concentrated on hearing its single acoustic sound rhythm. Decoding dit-da sequences is just too slow once you put the pencil down. Hearing each letter as a unique single sound becomes more important. I'd listen to the alphabet and describe above at my current skill level of 4 to 5 words per minute faster, and again at 8 to 10 words per minute faster. As the speed increased, it got easier to hear each letter as a single acoustic sound. My IER practice was mostly done by listening to on-air QSOs and short stories on the computer. I prioritized keeping up with the flow of CW character sounds, the IER skills, and learned to not worry about missing stuff. As I kept going with the flow regardless of non-recognition events, I began to get conscious mind out of the way and trust my subconscious to do the recognition work. Conscious recognition efforts are slow and hard. The subconscious is super fast and effortless. Your subconscious may not be up to the task quite yet, but practice using it anyway. We all learn differently, so pay attention and do more of what is effective for you, and less of what doesn't seem to help. When your brain gets tired and it feels more like work and less like fun, stop and pick it up again later. Code talk to yourself and or out loud through the day, and practice sending and listening to CW multiple times per day. Good luck. Have fun, keep practice sessions short and sweet, 10 to 15 minutes, and get a code buddy. Be sure to check out the Long Island CW Club. It's a welcoming community with a rich variety of online classes that will make your Morse code fluency journey more enjoyable. The National Traffic System is an organized network of amateur radio operators for the purpose of sending radiograms throughout the U.S. and Canada. Leading the charge over here for LICW and its educational benefits is Ed, N2GSL. Ed, where did it all start? How did this all happen?
Well, how you doing, Duff? And this all started happening at the dawning ages of radio, back in the very beginning of the origin of the American Radio Relay League. Relay being the key word there. The infancy of the art form of radio, messages needed to be moved from one place of the country to the next. And as you know, at that beginning of radio, receivers weren't very sensitive. The distances covered by one hop was very small, maybe just a couple of towns away, maybe the next state. And that's what it's all about, is relaying the messages from the origin to the destination, word for word, letter for letter.
You know, in this day and age, there's all sorts of alternatives for getting a message from one place to another. So what's the purpose? Why do we do this?
You know, the amateur radio service is a service, and one of the tenets is that we create a pool of trained operators And when the infrastructure disappears, quite recently in Western Carolinas, you don't have internet, you don't have cell phone, you
That's
don't
true.
have regular landline phones. The old growth trees took out everything. So you need, at least during the initial 72 hours, you need some way to get information out of the affected area and into the affected area. And that's where we come in.
And that's amateur radio in general, but this is just a great way of doing it. Is it handled primarily through HF on the air, or how do we get traffic from one point to another?
Well, the idea is to maintain the national traffic system so that it's RF from end to end.
Okay.
Every day, sometimes we interject some things through the internet, but for the most cases, we are talking RF only, and they can be handled in VHF, UHF local repeaters and simplex operation, HF phone operation, HF CW Morse code operation, and also digital modes. So all the modes are used interchangeably, and you could start a message in New York, it could end up in California, and it might start out on VHF phone, it might get relayed once as a CW message, another time as a phone message, and it may take a big hop across the country in the digital mode and then back down into the local VHF and finally delivered by telephone or in person or by the United States mail if no other way to do it.
With the familiar radiogram as it was. That's interesting.
Yes.
Now, you're doing some training and organization over here at LICW. What are you doing with the folks? What are we looking for there?
Okay, so on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. in Zoom A, we have the National Traffic System Training Sessions. And we go through about a 7-week program plus 1 or 2 weeks of practical applications following those 7 weeks, and then we start all over again. And during that time, we introduce what the National Traffic System is, what a radiogram is, and then we start and the similarities and differences between how that radiogram moves in the different modes, because there are some idiosyncrasies we go over. How to find, check in, check out, and participate in local Morse code training nets. That's the main focus, but we need to build firstly, about the radiograms, and so we give a foundation. We move into that. We try and do 2 weeks in between where the students or participants send radiograms to each other and practice creating them, generating them, sending them in Morse code using all the different techniques that are necessary to correctly communicate a radiogram. And then in addition to that, on Monday nights at 7 p.m. in Zoom E, or Echo, we have the V-band forum followed by a simulated traffic net. So anybody who's not familiar with operating V-band, it's a way to use Morse code over the internet. We actually help folks get set up. There's a little, things have to get done to get their computer set up. And then after that, we have a simulated traffic net where people check in, check out, and we even pass messages.
That's absolutely fantastic. And what you're doing, of course, is building more participants, in the NTS, I guess, and ready to go in times of emergency, or just you keep plugging away at it.
Yes, we have quite a few success stories right here in the Long Island CW. Rob WB2UZE started with the first iteration of our program back 3 years ago or so. And he is now he calls the Empire Slow Speed. He's a net control station for the Empire Slow Speed net, and he's a net manager for one of the other nets in the area. Roger in Pennsylvania, N3GE, I think his call is. I might have messed that up. He participates in the Pennsylvania CW net.
Gotcha.
And we have other success stories too.
And if somebody wanted to initiate a message to somebody, where would they go? How would they start?
Well, hopefully they would know a ham, because you would need to at least be able to understand that, hams can do this.
Sure.
And then you would contact a ham radio operator who participates in the national traffic system, and they would generate the message for you, take the information required. You need a good address, a good telephone number, and get it in the system for you.
Yeah.
There are some other new things on the horizon. At the ARRL, under the National Traffic System 2.0, there's a portal there that there are certain canned messages that anybody can go to the portal, ham or not,
Oh, okay.
and create a message that will be picked up from the portal by folks who are trained to get them into the system. So that's something new.
Yep.
Some just brand new on the out of the blocks.
That just opens it up a whole new area, I guess, of getting this message and getting traffic handled on that. I know that
the idea is, so that when we need to get information out of a Red Cross shelter in the affected area, there are folks there who can handle that. And that's what these routine messages are for.
Absolutely.
To train the operators.
Right. Very good, Ed. Well, thank you so much. Looking forward to that. I attended your meeting the other night over there. It was fascinating.
Hope you had a good time.
Yeah. I haven't done that in years. It's been ages since I was working with the traffic, system, as it were. So invite anybody and everybody, if you're interested, get a hold of Ed and basically attend one of the classes. Sounds good. Anyway, thanks.
All right, Duff. Be well.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
73.
73s. This is LICW is produced by the Informational Services of the Long Island CW Club. Comments, questions may be made to WA7BFN@msn.com. Thanks, everybody. Till next time, 73s.